Hey, this is Star Thinker Randy. I've been sitting here debating on whether I should make a video or not. My voice sounds really low. I'm really surprised at how low my voice sounds. For the past 2 days, I couldn't talk like at all. Um, I did get really sick Saturday and Sunday. I had. I'm going to rant for a minute. Just let me rant. I had all the symptoms, and of course, everyone's paranoid. So I called Ask a Nurse, the local Ask a Nurse, and they were just like, call 211. And this is my PSA. 211 is the CDC information hotline for this pandemic. And so I called 211. I'm like, look, I'm really sick. I have all the same symptoms. And they asked me one question. They said, do you know anyone personally that has the coronavirus? And I was like, no. And they said, you don't have it. Goodbye. Click. That was it. I felt, wow, that was the silliest thing ever. So I called the ER because I'm a high risk factor. And this is like Sunday morning. Saturday I got really, really sick. Sunday morning, Saturday night, Sunday morning, I couldn't even get out of bed. I mean, if the house caught fire, I would have burned down with the house. I could not get out of bed. I was so sick. So I called the ER and they quizzed me for like 20 minutes. And they said, well, you may have all the symptoms, but you also have flu symptoms. So we think you're more likely to have the flu. I was like, that makes sense to me. I just wanted to be absolutely sure. And they suggested I don't come in to the ER to wait for my GP to open on Monday morning. Well, luckily, I called like right at 8 o'clock Monday morning when they opened. And while I was on the phone with them, someone was canceling an appointment on another line. So I just happened to talk long enough that she caught that. Otherwise, it would have been days before I got in. So I did get in like within an hour of my phone call. And it just was really weird because, I mean, yes, I have all the symptoms, but yes, I'm a low risk factor. And the doctor came in and, um, you know, first of all, you got to put a mask on when you're in the waiting room because everyone had the mask on. And I could not breathe. I mean, I said, I got to take this mask off. It's suffocating me. And then he gave me permission to take the mask off. And he goes, well, we're going to test you for the flu. And he stuck the thing up my nose. And I remember waving my arms going, ah. It was awful. I mean, it's been 24 hours and my nose still hurts from that swab up the nose. He says, sit tight. We're going to have this tested. And when he came back, and it was a long time, and I'm like in there, I'm half delirious, and my face was on fire, I can't breathe. And my throat, I mean, nothing is touching this pain in my throat, and it's still hurting right now. And he came back in a mask, in the headdress. He had his coat buttoned up to his neck. He had gloves on. He goes, I'm going to ask you to put your mask back on. I was like, okay. And he goes, what you have isn't bacterial. It's a viral infection. I'm like, okay. And he goes, you sure you haven't been out of the country? You sure you haven't been on a cruise? I'm like, I think I would have remembered being out of the country, being on a cruise. I said, I have traveled in the last 2 weeks. I've been to Tennessee. I've been to Nashville. I drove through Kentucky, Illinois, Missouri, Iowa. I actually stopped and got gas in one of the counties in Iowa that has a big outbreak right now. And he's like, well, but you don't know anyone personally that has the... I'm like, no, I don't know anyone personally. He goes, well, we're going to treat this as a normal viral infection. So they wouldn't actually test me, but he's like, drink plenty of fluids, all the normal things that you would do for a viral infection. Oh, I hate it when you involuntarily swallow and it just hurts so much. So I got it. One thing I want to add, I know this is me ranting and it's hard to tell because I'm not talking very, very angrily, but I do trust these doctors. I've been seeing these doctors for years. It's a clinic. My main doctor, of course, with such short notice, I couldn't see my personal doctor. So this was one of the partner doctors. I do trust them. I have high blood pressure. I have diabetes. I have chronic bronchitis. So I do have respiratory issues. That's why whenever I'm sick, I do go in when I can. And it just seemed really suspicious to me that like they're like, well, we're gonna treat this like a normal viral infection. I'm like, isn't it a normal viral infection? Didn't you just tell me it was normal? But so I'm gonna trust them and think that was a flu. They did say you can't go back to work until the 22nd. Of course, I work for a global company, and being a global company, there's a lot of travel that goes on with the employees. Our company is based in Sweden. Oh, excuse me. But so when I called in sick Sunday night, 'cause I work nights, they're like, "Don't come back to work until you're 24 hours symptom free. You know, just don't even try." And I feel bad because they're preparing to send people home, and I'm the IT guy, and they just ordered 50 laptops so that when they send people home, they're going to send everyone home with a laptop. And I can't be there to help. I can't be there to configure these laptops with them. So, I mean, I'm really loyal to where I work. Had this not been a pandemic, I've gone into work, because I work nights, I work alone. I would go in and, leave just as people are arriving, so I wouldn't try to infect anyone. But they're like, no, don't even. And my boss is like, I know you. Don't lie to me. Don't come in until you're done. Anyway, that's my rant. And I started to get a little coherent yesterday, and this was something I started working on last week. I took the poem, I took a piece of graph paper, and I tried to do this in a spreadsheet, but it just seemed to be taking too long. So I just took a piece of graph paper and I wrote it out. I did two ways. In fact, I got it right here. I wrote the poem down two ways. I wrote it down with the spaces and without the spaces. So here's the poem with the spaces and then without the spaces. One letter per square. Because I still think this poem just reeks of having some kind of message in it, some kind of code. And I am so biased towards myself that I'm like, I did this kind of to see if I could find the name of the river or the town or something in my solve. So I'm not doing it there. If that's the way you're doing your solve, is that you have a place and you're trying to fit the poem to your place, you're doing it the wrong way. And I know I'm doing it the wrong way, but I'm just kind of passing time because I'm already set in my way. So I was just kind of passing time to see if anything would pop up in here. And bias is a hard thing to overcome. I'm going to tell you a short story where, if you've heard of the James Randi Educational Foundation, James Randi had $1 million prize for any psychic that could prove that they were really psychic. Now, I'm friends and acquaintance with a lot of the people that worked at JREF, and I've seen a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff that goes on for these tests, and they've had a lot of people come through, and I've just kind of watched the behind-the-scenes stuff, and they would bend over backwards to try to accommodate these psychics. Just for an example, one of the psychics agreed that they would put playing cards in envelopes, and if she could pick the right number, of the cards, then she would be considered psychic and she would get the $1 million. And to show you how much they bend over backwards, they would, they ask her, what would you think a successful test would be? And, they said, do you, if you pick 10 out of 10, would you call that successful? Or 7 out of 10, or 5 out of 10, or 3 out of 10. Now, they always take random chance. If you were to take a monkey and have them pick cards, a monkey would get, I'm just using this as an example, would get 1 card out of 10 right. And so the psychic went all the way down to 3 out of 10. So they agreed, if you get 3 cards out of 10, we'll consider you psychic, and you'll get the prize. And they do stuff very randomly, like one person would shuffle the deck and one person would put the cards in the envelope. they have checks and balances along the way, and so they come up with these envelopes, and they do the tests, and she's naming cards. She got 1 right out of 10, which was random chance. But that's the kind of thing, like, these people, once they believe they have this ability, you're not going to convince them otherwise. And any proof you give them, they will bend to their belief. And the same thing is happening with, well, any treasure hunt really, but this treasure hunt especially, where if you try to bend things to your belief, you're doing it backwards, you're doing it the wrong way. I think Forrest has said himself, don't try to make the poem fit your solve. Your solve needs to, like, fit your poem. I'm going to pause this for a minute. I don't like it when I have to pause, but that was my doctor calling and checking up on me. I will reiterate, I trust my doctors, and I trust the clinic I go to, and it's little things like this where they're calling and checking up on me that, if they hadn't done that, that's just, I don't know, that they did that, I trust them a little bit more. But anyway, bias, don't bend things. And I'm admitting to you right now that, like, when I go through and I was taking my ruler and like going along the lines, seeing if there was any mess, and I'm sure people have done this before. In fact, I know people have done this before. And I was doing diagonals, and like I said, I did it with spaces and without spaces, and then the cat, you can see the cat chewed up my whole pad. But yeah, if you're doing it that way, you're doing it the wrong way. And I'm only doing it because I know I can see the bias in myself. And everything, I watched a lot of videos the last couple days, and I keep missing the live videos, and for some reason YouTube is not sending me notifications. And I've double checked, I've even unsubscribed, resubscribed, hit the bell icon, but I'm not getting notifications of these videos. And I've missed, Calazar's and K-Pro's live thing, and I've missed Toby's live stuff, and there's a couple other ones that have live stuff, and I missed them. It's really kind of frustrating because I'm out of it. I'm like, my brain is fried right now. So if I don't get the notifications, I'm not going to remember. I didn't even know what day it was yesterday. So I wasn't even thinking, oh, it's Monday. It's, the live day. But because another thing is I'm in a basement with no windows, so I don't even know, like, what time of day it is. And when I'm in my bedroom area, it has no windows, and then it has no windows in the door or nothing. So when I'm in there, I literally have no sense of time. And so there was times, I swear it'd been 8-10 hours. I'd get up and only 2 hours had passed. It's just really weird. But anyway, try to be careful of biases. And I've seen other people talk about it, and I've seen, like, that Toby guy from Gypsy's Kiss. He gets really, he'll tell it like it is. No, you're bending the bone to your solve, and I know I am, and I'm doing it the wrong way. So just be careful of that in any treasure hunt you go to. And I know people, when I was working on Michael Stather's hunt, it's like people were like, here's a solve I have, and but I had to switch these letters around to make it work, and I had to change this one line around to make it work. I'm like, you're bending things way too much. Each, if there is a code, it's got to follow rules, and if you're breaking the rules to make your code work, then you're not doing it correctly. And I'll reiterate, if you're doing my puzzle, there are hard set rules, and I've spent years making sure that every solve followed every rule to the T. And so it's kind of funny that I'm doing this and I'm doing it backwards, but I can't think straight anyway. And so I'm just sitting here in isolation, doing strange things to occupy my mind. I still have my this is a different one, but this is, like, I did a number analysis of the poem. Like, here's the poem over here, and I was doing number analysis of all things and trying it various ways. It just reeks that there's a message. He bends grammar, and he uses words that nobody uses. And when you see that, to me, as someone who writes codes and who's read every book on steganography and read every book on codes, ancient and modern, it just reeks that. Oh, that hurts so bad. It just reeks that there's something going on there, and especially when he said, "Oh, I spent 15 years writing this poem." I'm like, I've just. And it's funny because like I've written stories where I've written the first part of the story, and there's might have been a 5-year break, and I'll write the second half of the story, and I'm like, yeah, it took me 5 years to write that story, but in reality, I might have spent 2 days on it. But sometimes I just wonder what he meant by that, and wonder how he uses grammar the way he uses, and he keeps saying to keep it simple. That's why I didn't scramble anything. All I did was crunch put the letters in a box and see where it went. It's going nowhere. It's not happening. But I did plan on doing boots on the ground in April, so we'll see what happens in April. We don't know. Parks might close, areas might close, they might be a travel ban. So we'll see what happens. At the very least, the reason I was waiting to April in the first place was to get my financials straightened out, and so if it goes on longer, a little bit longer, I'll just be more financially available. So that's my take for today. Nothing's been happening with me. But I thought I'd get something out there, and just I'm lonely. And I keep missing the live. One thing about the live videos is you get the chat, and I can bullshit with people, and I make snide remarks, and I'm a joker, and I'll see people write something and be, oh, here's a joke waiting to be had. I've been missing that. And every time I wake up, I wake up at midnight and thinking it's 8 o'clock at night and I got time, and I've lost all track of time, and it's pretty bizarre. And I looked at my Fitbit record because I thought I was kind of sleeping well, and it's like I sleep for an hour, and then 2 hours later I slept for an hour and 40 minutes, and 2 hours later I slept for like an hour and a half, and I'm not getting sleep because I wake up and I'm like, it hurts. When you lay down and sleep and you're not moving, it like builds up and it hurts so bad. And I get up and I drink water, and I'll drink something that might grip it, and like a soda, and I'd let the fizz hit my throat. This is the worst. But I mean, I don't really have much else to do. I still, I moved into this place like 2 months ago, and I still haven't. The last thing I got to do is arrange my shelves, because I have a big collection of minerals. I have a big collection of antiques, and at my old house, it's arranged on the shelves so that you can like see everything, and it's really nice. And now it's just like, because I moved in, I threw everything on my shelves, and it's like the last thing I gotta do. And I got my bookshelves arranged, I got my desk arranged, my electronics, and the cats and everything. I've even put stuff on the walls. Last thing, so I'm not even giving anyone a tour of my studio apartment with a secret room. Until I get those. That's like my last hold up, and I keep staring at him going, I should be working on this, and I'll be like, no, let me try this with the poem one more time, and no, that didn't work, and it's just so frustrating. So anyway, I don't know if I said anything useful today. If I did say anything useful, just know that if you have a solve, the poem comes first and then your solve. If you got your solve and you're trying to make the poem fit your solve, you're doing it backwards, and it probably won't work. And I'm just waiting for all this to pass, and I'm hoping I can get out and and do my boots on the ground before, because I know other people have the same solve I have, and I feel like it's a race now. Like the sooner I get out there, the better. And I know people have already visited this area, but I watch videos of them, and they visit, and not this area, but I watch people visit an area and look around and leave, and I'm like, I plan on spending 5 days. That's what my plan is. 5 days in this area, doing it over and over again, just to make sure I've covered all my bases. And not only that, but I have a Honda Element that makes into a camper, and I'm just gonna have fun with it. But yeah, I don't plan on going out there looking once and coming back. I plan on doing it over and over until I'm convinced. And I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap it up because it's getting hard to talk. I lost my low timber that I started out with. And I'm going to watch a few more videos and stare at my shelves again. But be careful. Listen to your doctors. Listen to what they... I'm not going to get into things, but listen to your state government. I believe the states are doing a better job handling things than the federal government. So Iowa's doing a pretty good job. They did some weird things at first, but now they've closed the schools, and they're limiting gatherings, and if you miss work because of the virus, you can apply for unemployment, and there's like a no questions asked approval process for that. They're extending Medicaid benefits. Are just doing everything right. Sorry. So I'm going to wrap it up. Keep looking, keep watching videos. I think that's what we're going to be doing the next couple weeks, is watching everybody's videos. If I come up with anything new, I'll make another video. I doubt I'll come up with anything new. Other people have insights. I love that. I love that I can watch videos, and I might watch 3 or 4 videos and get one insight, and I'm like, ooh, does that change the way I think? That was really clever of that person to do that. It was really nice of that person to share that. And I think it's just great that we have this community. And I know there's a marathon coming up, I think the 28th, and I'll be watching that, and I'll be in chat making snide remarks. I just make puns and stuff. That's my way of doing things. But I think I'm going to wrap it up now. It's really hard to talk now. But keep looking, keep having fun, and stay safe, and listen to your elders. Have a good one.